Hi all. Today we are going to discuss about mushroom poisoning. So mushroom poisoning means it is related to the plant poisoning. In plant poisoning we are having mushroom poisoning and mycotoxins. Actually the plants that comes under the poisoning are aloe vera and cannabis and mushrooms. So the fungal related growth which is caused by which is also a mushroom is one of the mycotoxin that is causing poison. Okay, so in this you can see the structure of this mushroom. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ అందరం ఇప్పుడు మష్రూమ్స్ అనేవి తింటున్నాం, మీరు చూసే ఉంటారు. సో దిస్ మష్రూమ్ ఈజ్ హ్యావింగ్ ద అవుటర్ మోస్ట్ మనకి అంబ్రెల్లా షేప్లో ఉంటుంది కదా పైన. సో దట్ క్యాప్ లైక్ స్ట్రక్చర్ దట్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో కాల్డ్ as pileus. Okay, pileus here not is it is mentioned. This cap over is also called as a pileus, and there are some marks over the mushrooms. In some there are scale like structures will be present, those are called as scales. And downwards if you turn that top of the mushroom cap downwards, you can see the layer like structures which is హ్యావింగ్ మనకి అంబ్రెల్లా గొడుగులో ఏవైతే కమ్ములు అట్లా అరేంజ్మెంట్ ఉంటాయో ఇన్ ద సేమ్ వే మనకి మష్రూమ్ క్యాప్ తిప్పి చూస్తే కూడా అలాగే అరేంజ్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది. దోస్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ గిల్స్. So the lines like structures which are appeared on the downside of the cap is also, or pileus is called as gills. And the neck portion which is supporting both cap and the downward mycelium is also called as the stem. This stem is having the ridge like structure on the top which holds up the mushroom cap, that is called as wing, wing, or it is also called as annulus, annulus, annulus. Okay, and downwards the stem is present, and also it is holded up by the mycelium. The mycelium growth over the stem is called as olva. Okay, the mycelium growth over the stem is called as olva. Okay, so this is the structure of the mushrooms. So depending upon the species, the structure also varies. Some will have the umbrella shape and some will have the flat shape, and but the structures are same, and only the width and size of the stem and cap will be varying. Okay, and sometimes a shape also varying. The term mushroom actually refers to the reproductive portion of the fungus which grows up from a underground mycelium. So underground in every near to the plants, if you have seen near to the big trees or plants, there will be a growth of mycelium surrounding the plant. Okay, from that mycelium the protruded portions will be developed which are called as reproductive portions to give to increase the growth of mushroom area over the particular region. Okay, so that portion is especially we are taking for eating purpose. Okay, so mushrooms are recognized as a component of the human diet with versatile medicinal properties. Okay, so why? Because these mushrooms are worldwide for their nutritional and therapeutic properties also. In some areas it is also a main food like structure like in Nepal. And however mostly accidental mushroom poisoning will be constantly seen all over the world. So American Association of Poison Control Centers will have recognized that per year nearly 10,000 cases will be occurring in a year. Okay, so that is in a 1 lakh people population there is a 5 members are affecting with poisonous mushrooms. Okay, and mostly Amanita and Bolita species are responsible for fatality. Okay, so why? Because most of the there are some hundreds of species are there. 5,000 varieties, that is mainly 5,000 varieties of mushrooms are present all over the world. So in that only 100 are toxic and 32 are associated with some fatalities. Remaining all are having some healthy things we can use for eating and all. So mostly 110 types of species will be not at all having any adverse effects, and we can go for eating normally. Okay. And only that's why it is all the toxic mushrooms belong to the only two divisions, that is Basidiomycetes and Ascomycetes. So these are some of the species and common names we will see in our areas, that is Amanita muscaria, fly agaric, Amanita pantherina, panther cap, and Amanita phalloides, death cap, Amanita verosa, destroying angel, and Galerina autumnalis, deadly Galerina, Psilocybe ceruleus, bluefoot, like that. So these are the common names we can see. And what are the medicinal molecular properties and mechanism of toxicity? If you go see for this, mostly you go for amatoxin and fellatiotoxin and mescaline and mucimol psilocybin. Okay, these are enough for your syllabus purpose. So in this amatoxins are highly present in mushrooms, especially the different species of Amanita will consist of this amatoxin, and this is thermostable and bicyclic octopeptide. 9 amatoxins have been identified, and alpha amantadine is a most active component, and it inhibit RNA polymerase 2, and thus transcription of DNA occurs by protein synthesis and cell necrosis. Okay, so this is and phallotoxin, this is obtained from Amanita phalloides, and these two are also highly available in India also. Okay, what is the two Amanita species such as Amanita phalloides and Amanita. Okay, so this phalloides will consist of peptides containing bicyclic skeleton with a trans-annular thioether bridge. Mainly its function is specific binding to the of the toxin to F-actin in liver cells, which consequently inhibits the depolymerization of F-actin into G-actin. Okay, so and another one is and acromelic acid. This is also somewhat important, which is obtained from Clitocybe acromegalia. So it is a member of kynoid family, a group of non-proteinogenic pyrrolide dicarboxylic acids. So mainly main function is acrometic acid. A exhibits neuroexcitatory activity and can bind to glutamate receptors, mimic glutamic acid, causes characteristic behavior changes, and induced selective damage to the interneurons in the lowest spinal cord when tested in an animal model. Okay, and another one is ibotenic acid. It is obtained from Amanita muscaria and Amanita pantherina. It is a alpha amino 3 hydroxy 5 isoxazole acidic acid. It is an NMDA receptor agonist because of the acidic property of the isoxazole moiety. It is similar to glutamic acid and mimics its effects in animals. And mucimol is another important toxin. It is mainly present in Amanita muscaria and Amanita pantherina. Mainly it is a component of decarboxylated product of ibotenic acid, and its main mechanism is this substance shows structural resemblance to GABA and limits the action of this inhibitory neurotransmitter in the CNS. And psilocybin and psilocin, these are the component of tyramine type 4 phosphorylloxy NN dimethyl tryptamine. So these are mainly present in all these components, Selacca species. Okay, and Phylophyta, Dentoliba and all, this is also consists of the things. Mainly its function is cleavage of the phosphoric acid ester group by alkaline phosphatase and nonspecific esterases that indicates the psilocybin acts as a product, and its hydroxyl metabolite psilocin is the active agent. Activity of psilocybin is due to the activation of serotonin 2A receptor. So, of all the toxins, phalloidin appears to be most rapid acting, while amanitin causes more delayed manifestations. Okay. So, what is its effects means mostly toxic syndrome will appear like acute gastroenteritis, hallucinogenic, okay, and CNS excitation, flushing, headache, tachycardia, cholinergic excess, everything. So all these are mainly because of the presence of some with each specific component it is having specific action, you can see here. And coming to the mortality rate, this allernic morleucin, it is having kidney and GIT damage, and amotoxins and phalloidotoxins will have 20 to 30% of the death rate. Okay, so if you are observed in time and you have cured for that person, it will also not be a fatal condition. Okay, in plant poisonings, immediately we need to check for ABC, and we need to go for supportive measures and all immediately if you have observed this poisoning. So then the poisoning condition will be very minimized. Why? Because if you see here, only 25 to 27% mortality rate is observed. Okay, by this we can cure the person immediately. And coming to the clinical features, if you are ingesting these poisonous components, the phase 1 symptoms will be abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, and hypoglycemia, tachycardia, hypotension, and electrolyte imbalance lasting for about a day, we can see. And diarrhea is often severe with watery and cholera like. మనకి ఫుడ్ పాయిజనింగ్ అయితే కూడా ఇంతేమో, ప్లాంట్ పాయిజనింగ్ ఆర్ ఫుడ్ పాయిజనింగ్, if you are taking inside our stomach, automatically it disturbs the CTZ center, and also will cause cramps in our abdomen. Okay, so cholera like symptoms, that is 2 to 4 liters per day we can see. And metabolic acidosis may occur. You know what is metabolic acidosis? It will turn glycolysis into an anaerobic condition, and lactic acid will be produced. If lactic acid is more amount deposited in our body, it will lead to metabolic acidosis condition. And phase 2, it causes triggerous phase of remission, during which the patient may be considered to have recovered and may even he sent to home, only to return soon thereafter. And that means phase 2 phase will be like a inert phase. He will don't have any symptoms, all the effects will be normalized like that. And in phase 3, 2 to 3 days after ingestion, hepatic, renal, and pancreatic failure can be observed, and 7 to 10 days hepatotoxicity manifests in the form of elevations of AST, ALT, and bilirubin levels, hypoglycemia, jaundice, encephalopathy with convulsions, coma, and death. And phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 conditions, we can see more effects after second phase only. Why? Because if it is a reversal condition and amotoxins are more, then only the phase 3 conditions will be higher. Okay, so if it is cured in phase 1 and there is no symptoms recurring in the phase 2, then the person will have the normal lifestyle. Okay, so in phase 3 also it can see adult respiratory distress syndrome may develop in later stages of cyclopeptide mushroom poisoning in conjunction with severe hepatic impairment and coagulopathies, and polyneuropathy can be observed. And we can see amanita poisoning, 2 kinds, in renal failure during the gastrointestinal phase characterized by hypovolemia and is secondary to fluid losses and hypoperfusion of the kidneys. Acute renal failure with anuria occurs in the third phase of poisoning and may be accompanied by severe hepatitis with a hepatic coma and hemorrhage. This part of the hepatorenal syndrome. That means it will finally cause mushroom poisoning. Why deaths occur means mainly because of the hepatorenal syndrome. Okay, so what is the usual fatal dose means 2 to 3 mushrooms of Amanita phalloides, that is almost 5 to 15 grams of amatoxins per gram of dried mushroom have been found, which is equivalent to 1 Amanita cap. And also 0.1 mg per kg of amatoxin may be lethal dose for human adults, and about 15 to 20 Galerina caps could kill a healthy adult, as will about 30 Lepiotas. So that means we should check out the how many mushrooms have been eaten by the person, and at which concentration we have they taken or cooked by that. Okay, some of the people for enjoyment purpose also they will go to hunting in the wild, and they will take the mushrooms, and they will that means ఫైర్ లోనే కాల్ చేసి వాటిని తింటుంటారు అనమాట. సో లైక్ దట్స్ mainly they will get that hallucination effect. So for that purpose these mushrooms are mostly used. Hallucination effect అంటే మీకు తెలుసు కదా. సో ఇట్స్ ఏ డ్రీమ్ లైక్ స్టేట్ అండ్ యూఫోరియా కండిషన్ విల్ బీ అపియర్డ్. యూఫోరియా మీన్స్ వెల్ బీయింగ్ కండిషన్. ఓకే, సో దానికోసమని ఎక్కువగా అడవుల్లోకి వెళ్ళేసి వాళ్ళు అవి ఫారెస్ట్లో ఉండే మష్రూమ్స్ని కాల్చుకొని తినేస్తూ ఉంటారు. సో అట్ సమ్ టైమ్స్ దే అన్నోయింగ్లీ దే కెన్ నాట్ అబ్జర్వ్ విచ్ ఈజ్ పాయిజన్ అండ్ విచ్ ఈజ్ నాన్ పాయిజనస్ mushroom in that darkness or whatever it may be. So unknowingly if they are eating that mushrooms, they will lead to poisonous conditions in these such a doses. And coming to the diagnosis, the Mexner test unfortunately gives false positive results. So I will explain you what is Mexner test later. So Melger's test can be done to detect an amyloid reaction in cyclopeptide containing amanitas, and hepatic and renal function test should be done. Mainly it affects renal and liver conditions. That's why we should go for the enzyme analysis of both the liver and kidney. And serum electrolytes such as urea, creatinine and glucose levels we should see. And a drop of material mushrooms dish, that is gastric contents or stools, placed on slide and observed with a high power magnification reveals spores. That means some of the poisonous spores will be present on the mushrooms. We can go for observation of that spores in stools exactly. Okay, and detection of toxins in gastric aspirate, serum, urine, stool and liver and kidney biopsies using HPLC, TLC or radioimmunoassay. And also we should monitor coagulation parameters, and also we need to see about the AST, ALT and LDH and serum bilirubin are the earliest and best indicators of liver damage, while glucose, fibrinogen and prothrombin tryme are best indicators of established hepatocellular failure. Okay, patients with prothrombin values less than 10% have high fatality rate. So why we should need to observe prothrombin time means it is a liver enzyme, mainly it causes liver is the main area which gives coagulating factors 7, 8, 9, 10 exactly, isn't it? 2, 7, 9, 10 exactly, I think. So and also vitamin K. When more components are produced from the liver, the clotting mechanism will be normalized. So if liver affects, automatically the clotting mechanism will also be affected and prothrombin time will be increased. So that's why we need to observe that. And coming to the severity classification, grade 1 it is called as GI upset, and grade 2 all signs of intoxication with mild to moderate rise in transaminases, that is less than 500 units per liter, and grade 3 severe hepatic damage with a great increase in transaminases plus unimpaired plasma clotting function. And in grade 3A bilirubin rise is mild or absent, and grade 3B bilirubin rise is steep and continuous, that is greater than 5 mg per deciliter. These patients are at risk and should be transferred to a facility where liver transplant is possible. And in grade 4 step rise in transaminases accompanied by a steep decline in clotting function, a steep rise in bilirubin, and the onset of kidney dysfunction. These patients have a poor prognosis and may die in spite of intensive care. And coming to the treatment, you know already, first and foremost step is we need to check for ABC in a stabilization process, and decontamination, antidotes, and treatment of acute liver failure. In coming to the stabilization, restoration of fluid and IV glucose condition, we should go for if any water loss and severe diarrhea has been observed, we need to go for the IV glucose transmission. And due to coagulation defect, clinical hemorrhage is present, it should be given with vitamin K. That's why we need to see for prothrombin time, if it is very less or if it is not having the proper coagulation mechanism, then we should administer vitamin K, that is 50 to 100 mg per day IV, and fresh frozen plasma. And correction of hypokalemia, we should give potassium chloride diluted in solution of dextrose 5% or NaCl 0.9% and of metabolic acidosis by sodium bicarbonate solution, that is 1.4%. that is for mainly hypokalemic indication can be decreased. And coming to the decontamination, that is a universal antidote. You know that activated charcoal is a usual manner, and multiple dose activated charcoal is used for relieving the toxins from our body. And forced diuresis condition, 6 to 9 liter per day, may therefore help if the patient is seen within 24 to 48 hours, because significant amounts of amatoxins are eliminated in urine, especially during the first 48 hours following ingestion. And hemoperfusion, beneficial if performed within 24 hours, and risk of bleeding due to decreased platelets can be seen in the hemoperfusion condition, and that should be checked for that, and we should go for the hemoperfusion. And charcoal plasma perfusion, this is and continuous venous hemofiltration, that is called as CVVH, was successful in these patients. Since mainly these condition, charcoal plasma perfusion and hemoperfusion conditions, we should do when liver damage is higher in that particular persons, or we should check for the renal and liver enzymes, then only we should go for this monitoring. And the best antidotes we should use is benzyl penicillin at a dose of 3 lakh to 10 lakh units per day is said to be effective in displacing amatoxin from plasma protein binding sites, allowing for increased renal excretion. And thioctic acid, an alpha lipoic acid, was initially thought to be beneficial for the treatment of hepatic damage, but presently its use is discouraging because of some complications and appeared in this lipophilicity, high lipophilicity effect of the drug. And silibinin is being investigated for its reported beneficial effects in countering hepatotoxicity. No evidence so far of clear-cut advantage. And coming to the cimetidine, the 4 to 6 gram per day, a potent cytochrome P450 system inhibitor, may have hepatoprotective effects against alpha amanitin. You know, cimetidine is also a H2 blocker, so this will also help in controlling against alpha amanitin. And N-acetylcysteine have been investigated in some patients with various degrees of amanita poisoning. And root of an Indian plant, that is Picoriza curova, we will call it as kutkin, contains an eridoid glycoside mixture that has been shown to be hepatoprotective in certain situations, that also can be ingested for protecting our liver. And Ocibin is an iridoid glycoside obtained from the leaves of Cuba japonica. It is also a protective against amanita intoxication. When tested in dogs, it is highly useful, and 50% of the patients also recovered by using this iridoid glycoside. And treatment of acute liver failure, it is a general symptomatic treatment. Mainly it is treatment by hepatic encephalopathy, lactulose, dietary protein withdrawal, metronidazole or neomycin. And for cerebral edema conditions, we should go for the intensive care proper monitoring, that means intensive care patient monitoring, and osmotic diuretics such as mannitol 1 gram per kg as rapid IV infusion of 20% solution, and barbiturates such as IV thiopentone infused slowly over 15 minutes until signs of raised ICP resolve. That means ఏమన్నా పేషెంట్ అగ్రెసివ్గా అట్లా ఉంటే వీ కెన్ గో ఫర్ ద barbiturates for purpose calming the patient purpose. And corticosteroids may not help in relieving cerebral edema due to acute liver damage. So మోస్ట్లీ సెరిబ్రల్ ఎడిమా వచ్చింది అంటే మనం మోస్ట్లీ స్టీరాయిడ్స్కే ఎక్కువ ఛాన్సెస్ చూపిస్తామమ్మా, కార్టికోస్టీరాయిడ్స్. బట్ దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ దట్ మచ్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ ఇన్ దిస్ సెరిబ్రల్ ఎడిమా కండిషన్స్ కాజ్డ్ బై మష్రూమ్ పాయిజనింగ్. అండ్ position we should make always a head upright position with that means we should keep the patient flat, and we should be, it always should be upright in condition, heading forwards the our towards the sky region. Okay. And treatment of acute liver failure, it is called treatment of infection by antibiotics, and treatment of coagulopathy by fresh frozen plasma for serious or persistent bleeding. And for liver transplantation is recommended only in following situations like grade 2 encephalopathy or beyond, and prolonged prothrombin time, and despite administration of fresh frozen plasma, and serum bilirubin greater than 25 mg%, and azotemia, evidence of acidosis, hypoglycemia, GI hemorrhage, and hypofibrinogenemia. You know what is azotemia? So azobenzene effect, that protein precipitation will be more in the tissues. So for treatment of acute liver failure, will have molecular absorbent regenerating system. In it's a short term extracorporeal hepatic support, so called liver dialysis. It is a MARS is a method of removing protein bound substances in patients with liver failure and hepatic encephalopathy. So this molecular absorbent regenerating system is mainly used for treatment of liver failure, which can remove the toxins that are present in the protein bound inside our blood vessels, or in liver cells or blood vessels anywhere. Okay. So for this purpose it employs an albumin impregnated highly permeable dialyzer with albumin containing diacylate recycled in a closed loop with a charcoal cartridge, an anion exchange resin absorber, and a conventional hemodialysis membrane. Okay. And MARS appears to be a promising bridging technique until the patient's liver can spontaneously recover, or until liver transplantation can occur. Okay. So this is about the mushroom poisoning.